Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Anarchy Arena podcast. And if you don't know by now, this is the voice of the ham sandwich, John the Joker. On today's episode, we go into my younger days and what it's like to live in an evangelical world, growing up Pentecostal, learning about the Bible, and then finally, when I lost my faith. Well, enough of the prattle. Let's get right into the show.
And welcome back to another edition of the Anarchy Arena podcast. This time we are not going to talk about anything that has to do with that ugly-ass Q word. You know the word I'm talking about. We're not dealing with that right now, whether we're in it, out of it. We don't care at the moment. We're going to talk about something completely different and off the wall, and something maybe some of you might care about, maybe some of you are interested in, maybe some of you just want to hear some crazy-ass stories. Well, if you want crazy-ass stories, there's three people you should talk to. It's the three people making this show right now. But if you want some really crazy stories, I'll tell you who you talk to. You talk to the guy who grew up Pentecostal, which, spoiler alert, wasn't me. Spoiler alert, wasn't Billy. Can you guess who it was?
It was definitely Count Jacula. No,
that's who it was. It was Jack.
No.
Jack's just gonna pop in here right away. Hi guys.
Hey, what's up? No,
That was a terrible Count Jacula
it was a
impersonation.
very
I
bad Count
apologize,
Jacula.
Jack.
Yeah,
I was giving you a random voice.
And be like, what the fuck, man?
Right?
Yeah, what the fuck? But no, yeah, I grew up Pentecostal. I was going to church literally since the day I could fucking walk until about 18. And unfortunately, what happened? Well, not unfortunately, but I lost my faith and I got out of it. But I have never forgotten about those days growing up Pentecostal. It was fucking weird.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Okay.
I don't know why I did that. I'm never going to do that again.
Break. No.
Break. Never doing that again. I sincerely
Now we're a
apologize
fucking
for
morning
that.
show.
Right? But let's break it down and make
Okay.
it nice and simple for people who don't know or don't care what it is, just in 10 words or less.
Oh, well, shit. I can't do it in 10
Layman's
words.
terms.
But, yeah, okay. So Pentecostal churches believe in the Holy Spirit and its ability to make people like filled with like this holy fire, basically, that makes you speak in tongues and dance and shit like that. It's all it's your
They're very extreme.
the very extreme, very fundamental, too. Like my church wasn't like that, and I'm gonna preface this with like my church was actually very light Pentecostal. We had women preachers. Women didn't have to wear dresses the entire time, because that actually is a thing. I don't know if you knew that.
What, women
Oh yeah, they can't wear their hair down.
Yep,
They have to wear dresses. That's why, like
Mhm.
a lot of the Pentecostals, you see the women with their hair all bundled up and,
Yep.
and everything. It's a clear sign.
Were you in a cult or?
It's funny.
Well, to be honest, the thing about Pentecostal is it's got to be one of the most inconsistent branches of Christianity.
Yeah.
Like a Catholic. I know there's different forms and all that, but still, like a Catholic goes to a Catholic church, they're gonna know it's gonna be very similar. Or like a Presbyterian, I feel like it's very similar. But dude, Pentecostal can range anywhere from extremely extreme, almost to cultish, to like just kind of that more Methodist with a little bit of a.
We just have an
twist to
electric
it.
guitar. It's like a Pentecostal light.
So
Yeah.
so you're the Chuck Berry.
Kind of. Okay, so I know
Because a lot of people thought Chuck was like, a Satanist when he came out with his shit of turning the amps up to 11 to get that distorted tone. So you're the Chuck Berry.
Kind of. All right, so I know a lot of people like to make the joke about Pentecostals that we're all snake handlers. That's literally a very specific part of Pentecostals.
That's Catholic priests who are the snake handlers.
And it's- And it's very regional.
And it's very regional. Like, that's literally like one part of the Appalachian Mountains, the fuck it, that people live in, that do that. Like, and I was never part of that. I didn't grow up near the Appalachians, so don't worry about that. I was the foot washing holy roller type.
The what?
The
what was that for?
The foot washing.
Oh, foot washing. Okay, sorry, I've forgotten some dialects. The R's go in places that they don't belong.
It's foot washing.
Yeah, there's no R there, but it's cool.
No, there's not. But like, whenever someone would talk about it, it was called the foot washers. Because for some reason we put an R in wash. I don't get it either.
And take it out of words that should have it. My aunt does that now that I think, but she calls him George Washington.
George Washington. Yep. Washington, D.C. is another one. But yeah, no, we didn't do the snake handling stuff. We did all the other crazy shit. We didn't do the snake handling stuff. We didn't drink strychnine or anything like that. But yeah, it was a very weird kind of church growing up. Basically how a Sunday service went down. Okay, just give you a very typical Sunday service.
All right, I'm sitting in the pews, the sunlight streaming in on a bright Sunday morning.
Okay, so we open with a song.
Okay.
And
I'm guessing not Manson.
No, I kept requesting it, and they never would let me do it.
You thought your pastor would have liked Personal Jesus.
Right?
I mean,
it's kind of a Jesus song. It's got Jesus in it. Anyways, we would open with a song, and then we'd have the what they call it, praise worship. Yeah, praise worship. Where basically you stand up and talk about how God's been good to you this week. Or you stand up, talk about how shitty your week's been, but thank God you're here on Sunday. That's usually what happened. I always called it the gossip 15 minutes.
Where everyone spilled their guts so the rest of the church could talk about them behind their backs.
Yeah, and then the prayer requests would come in, and people would stand up and be like, I need you to pray for my husband. He's been unable to get a job for the last year, and I'm just hoping that God gives him the inspiration to get up and go get a job. Yeah,
that's not God, honey.
Now that you fired this up, John, I have so many stories coming back to my brain. Oh my God.
See, so this is going to be weird. So John's got first-hand experience. Yeah. Billy has second-hand experience, and I have none.
Yeah, okay, so it's fucking weird because when me and Billy actually became friends, we actually connected over this. I was like, yeah, I'm Pentecostal. He's like, oh God. I was like, whoa, what? And he's like, oh, you're one of those crazy fuckers. And I was like, do I look like one of those crazy fuckers?
Then, no. Now, maybe.
Well, now I'm a different type of crazy fucker.
Yes.
But yeah, it was weird growing up in it because, I grew up around a bunch of Baptists in Church of Christ, which they didn't play music, they didn't sing, they had no fucking fun at church. I always had fun at church. Church for me was legitimately one of my favorite weekend activities growing up. Because I would go in, we'd play songs, I'd hang out with my friends, we'd occasionally dance and fucking, go crazy. And then on certain Sundays, there'd be a potluck. It was amazing. But going back to the church service, so we'd get the prayer requests, and then we'd do the choir.
Okay.
Which consisted of all the younger people, so 40 and below, singing songs horribly. And I was part of that choir, so I can say that.
18 people in the choir all singing in about 35 different keys?
Yes, we had no fucking... It was 18 white people trying to be a black choir. It wasn't good.
That sounds like the recipe for a reality comedy show right there.
It does.
It definitely could be.
Then after that, we would have our sermon, which is usually some type of fire and brimstone bullshit, or some type of Jesus loves you type of message. Then we would go into what we called the altar service, the altar call. That's when the weird shit happened, okay? And so I know you've been to a couple of churches, right?
I've done a Catholic death mass before, which now I understand why all Catholic people I've ever met are in shape. That old joke is true. It is a lot of sit, stand, kneel, sit, stand, kneel, sit, stand, kneel. It's Jesus, it's a workout. I need to wear a sweatband the next time I go.
That's fucking annoying.
Good
I'm like,
God.
why again?
Yeah,
God, we were just there.
Right? So I've done a Catholic death mass. I've done a couple of times at Hebrew Temple, and maybe a smattering of other just generic Christian services, but very few. Not counting weddings or anything like that.
Yeah. But okay, so you do have a little bit of experience.
I have very limited knowledge base,
okay.
yes.
So you know when they do the altar call and people would just go up and pray and then come back?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that shit didn't happen in a Pentecostal church ever.
No.
It's
people. I have stories on this part too. Oh God.
Let me tell my one story that I love that I will never fucking forget.
Okay.
So, altar call is made, and everybody goes up because when altar call was made, if one person went up, the whole church went up. If nobody went up, fuck it, we're done. But if one person went up, everybody went up. So you go up, start praying, and I'm not joking when I say this. The whole church starts fucking speaking in tongues. I saw a 60-year-old man run across the tops of pews, not even fucking joking. I've seen 300-pound fucking women jump like 5 feet in the fucking air. Like,
that's called drugs.
It is. It's kind of a trance. It's kind of a
No, I was speaking specifically cocaine. That's cocaine.
Well, maybe a little bit of pepper on your nose so you can get hit, but it usually wasn't cocaine. At least not in my experience or by any of my observations. But Billy, you do have experience with this as well, right? Like you said, you had a story.
Yeah. So I did not grow up in Pentecostal, obviously, just so people know. But I did when I went. So me and John met in college in Tennessee, and that's why I moved to Tennessee. And then I started dating somebody who was indeed Pentecostal, and that's how. And I've never been very religious. I was doing it for her. That was young Billy, where I catered to people, and I tried to. I really liked her. She was a good girl. I still talk to her to this day.
Yeah, she's not a bad person.
No, she's not. But I would go with her because it made her happy. She was obviously very religious.
Mm-hmm.
And man, what a fucking wake up call! Holy shit! So I grew up with a Catholic mom and a Presbyterian dad, and whenever I did go to church, it was very bland. It was just boring church. You just sit there. You sit there for your hour, and I didn't go to Catholic church too much. But Presbyterian wise is basically what I went to. So going to that was insane. And the part, so I'll open with this because I remember telling John this too, because John got a crack out of this back in the day. But the first time I went to church, I'm used to sitting in church and everyone's quiet, and then you just go home, right?
Right.
Well, no. So I'm sitting there. Church starts. He starts preaching. Preacher starts preaching, and all of a sudden people start hooting and hollering. And I'm just like, what? Hey, he's talking. Like, damn, like that's rude. And then they just keep, yeah, say it.
Preach it, brother. Amen,
yeah.
brother.
That's the word. And then all of a sudden people start raising their hands. And I'm like, do they have a question for him? Why are they raising their hands? I'm like, he's not a teacher. And then she's like, no, they're raising their hand to be closer to God. I'm like, listen, gravity keeps you down. You can only get so close.
Not
your
to mention,
hand isn't going to get you much further.
The extra 2.5 feet of range you might get from raising your hand, I don't think is going to do the job, people.
I was stunned. I was just like, this is insane. No. Just off of that, and that's really nothing. That's just like fundamental Pentecostal. Like, yeah,
that's a slow service. No, the whole like raising your hands to God thing, that's the evangelical shit. That's I don't know what the fuck it is. I think it's more of acting. I did it, but I don't know. It's weird. Like, so I'm kind of like an agnostic atheist now. Like, that's the way I would describe myself. I don't believe in a God. I don't think there is a God. If there is a God, I'm not even sure I would want to worship him. So for me, it's a little weird looking back because it's like, man, how the fuck did I think that was true? And the answer is pretty simply is just because I grew up in it.
I was about to say, it's cultural, right?
Yeah,
you grew up in an area of the country where mom and dad went to church because their mom and dad went to church because their mom and dad go to church, so you went to church.
Well, it's funny you say that because my mom and dad never went to church.
Really?
Never. I went with my aunt. My aunt and my uncle would take me to church.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too. The girl I was dating, her family didn't go either. She found that through, so she, had to work through high school and everything.
Mm-hmm.
She had to work hard, and she met people at her work when she was in high school that got her into church and stuff like that. So yeah, even her family didn't go. She developed that kind of on her own.
Yeah. I went to church with my aunt and my uncle. Like, my dad never went to church. My dad was a fucking asshole. Less I say about him, the better.
Agreed.
Yep.
My mom was too damn busy to go to church because she was, working for two people. So they never went to church. They never really had a reason to go. So I went with my aunt, my uncle. And then when I kind of became of age, I kind of went because I wanted to go. I even, okay, so here's the real kicker of this. At 16, 17, I decided I wanted to be a preacher.
I don't think you've ever told me that.
Yes, I wanted to be a preacher. I felt like God called me to be a preacher. So I started studying the Bible and I started studying other religions because I thought in my head, if you know more about the Bible, you'll know more about God and his plan. Well, funny fucking thing.
That's a logical way of thinking about it.
Yes.
However,
funny fucking thing. I started reading the Bible and I was like, oh man, this is, there's a lot of love in this book. And there is a lot of love in that book, but there's also a lot of fucking hate. A lot of stuff that people don't, either don't recognize or ignore. And it's like, there's a lot of terrible shit that happens in the Bible. Then I started doing more research on other religions because I wanted to see like why people believe in Allah or, Jehovah. Why don't the Jews just become Christians? Stuff like that.
There is a subset of that. It's called Jews for Jesus. And
I know. It's weird.
Yeah. There's no other way to describe it.
But going through my research of other religions, I started to find out, like, holy shit, we share a lot of things. Like Islam and Christianity, basically the same fucking religion, just different ways of worship.
Well, I mean, look at it historically. All of the major Abrahamic religions are basically all based off the same story, which is all based around the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yes.
And it's all tailored to that specific region.
Yes.
Every creation story, every origin story that comes out of the Abrahamic faiths is based off of the Epic of Gilgamesh, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Well, the Epic of Gilgamesh is like the oldest religious text there is, period. Flat out. That's still being used, by the way, because Hinduism uses the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Right.
So Hinduism actually the oldest religion. I found that out during this time of study. And I was like, dude, this is... Okay, now I'm starting to have... I'm doubting stuff. Like, growing up, my favorite apostle wasn't Peter, wasn't Paul, wasn't even fucking Mark. It was Thomas.
Mary. Oh, wait, sorry, apostle, not band member. Sorry, my bad.
No, it was the monkeys. No. No, it was
Catholics that love Mary.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't worship false idols, Chris. I'll get into that in a moment. But I thought Thomas was my favorite disciple. Why? Because he believed he didn't believe until he got definitive proof that it was real. He never believed anything until he knew it. And I was like, that is the honest way to go about faith. You have to recognize, like, no, this shit is stupid. There's no fucking way this is possible until something hits you and you're like, oh wait, no, this is real. Granted, after this, I did not believe shit. So I guess that should have been a warning sign for my faith.
Okay, I'm going to pause you real quick because here's something that's always bothered me. Point of order. And I know the answer to this, but I'm going to say it anyway. The Abrahamic faiths that the Bible and the Torah and other various religions are based off of, and the Quran. We're going to talk specifically about the Bible here real quick because this is something that's always bothered me.
Okay.
All the stories are based out of the Israel area. Okay.
Yes.
So pretty sure there's not a lot of dudes walking around with the name Paul and Thomas in Israel in like the first century.
Well,
just saying. Yes, I'm aware the King James Bible has been edited and things taken out, put back in, and blah, blah, blah. I understand that part.
Yeah, I've actually read the Hebrew version of it, like the Hebrew translations. Those names are kind of made up. Like, just flat out, they're kind of made up.
I can't pronounce this, therefore his name shall now be Thomas.
Yeah. No. the Bible, no matter what Bible you're reading, it's been heavily edited, just flat out. I hate to break it to people.
There are things missing. There are things added in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Bible isn't the holy inspired works of God. It's it's an editing nightmare. Because
part of that, it had a purpose, because especially when the Romans were coming through, they were trying to convert everybody.
Yeah.
They were realigning things closer to the people they were trying to convert.
100%. Yeah. No, that's 100% true. They did convert a couple of things in order to get more conversions. That's 100% true. And if you don't acknowledge that, as a Christian, I don't know where we're at. Like at this point, like you're just ignoring facts.
Like for example, for people that are scratching their heads for a second going, huh? We're recording this on Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Easter Sunday in the Christian faith is supposed to be the celebration of the resurrection of Christ.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of people are like, okay, well, where did the bunnies and stuff come from? Where that comes from, ladies and gentlemen, is when they tried to coincide it with the spring equinox to invite the pagans in. So that's where all your bunnies and springtime and all of that comes from.
Because bunnies are a sign of fertility, and eggs are a sign of fertility. That ain't got shit to do with Jesus.
No.
So,
but if we coincide with the pagans, maybe the pagans go, huh? Maybe that's not
like,
so bad over there. We'll go join you guys.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like it's like, okay, so we're gonna have bunnies here. So you guys have a spring festival? Yeah, we do. It's all about like birth and rejuvenation. Funny, we've got a guy named Jesus that does the exact same thing. Well, we still want to have our bunnies and eggs. You can do that. It's fine. It's part of the festival we put on too. And then they come in and hear about Jesus, and world changes for the worst or the best, however you want to find.
I'm seeing the vision in my head. There's a guy up in a tower hearing his buddy down there saying, he's like, all right, shit, I've got to write all this crap in now. Bunnies, eggs. He's just flying off the handle trying to get these damn pagans in here, and I've got to rewrite the whole party plan now. I themed the whole thing around stones and resurrection and zombies. Now I got to write in fucking rabbits.
Well, but yeah, like I understand that in this, I'm not trying to bash my Pentecostal years. I don't believe anymore. I don't think that they were evil. I just think they were misguided. See, because I went to a small, poor church.
Right.
Nobody there was making millions of dollars off somebody being an idiot. So
everyone knows who we're talking about right there. We don't need to say their name.
One of the worst ones. Yeah, I'll fucking say it.
Wait, what'd you say?
Kenneth Copeland.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the guy who can't get in a public airplane because it's a steel tube full of demon.
Oh,
I'm not shitting you.
Unintended.
But
yeah, let's not go down that road.
Yeah, let's not go down that road because I can go down that one for at least 2 hours. No, I personally I'm not bitter about it. I was when I lost my faith, but I'm not bitter about it anymore. I look back on it fondly. I remember the good times I had. I just don't believe that it was divine intervention or anything like that caused these things. I think it was just we were whipped up into a frenzy and there we were. I've also seen some horrible shit happen in churches. For instance, I saw a girl have a waking nightmare about hell because of a preacher's sermon, and they cheered it.
I'm sorry, they what?
They cheered it. They're like, "Oh, look at that! Her life's gonna be saved." And I'm like, no. That's
a night terror.
Yeah, that you are giving this kid a waking nightmare because of your description of hell, which, by the way, not a Christian creation.
No.
That's Zoe Astron. Excuse my fucking pronunciation. I apologize, but that's what it fucking is. The hell does not exist anywhere in the fucking Bible except for that really weird ending. And I've seen the fights happen in that church, like actual physical fist fights. I've seen people have their families divided because of that church. So I'm not saying it was all sunshine and kittens. There were some horrible, horrible things happening, but I have to be honest with myself and say, yeah, it really helped me out
at that point in time in your life.
Because I didn't really have much structure in my life because of my home life. It kind of sucked being at home. If I could go to church and avoid that for 3 days out of the week, perfect. So long as
3 days.
Yeah, Sunday, Wednesday, and then Tuesday choir practice.
That sounds like way too much work. Sorry, I'm out.
Yeah, well, see, you had a nice home.
True.
I didn't.
It's normally Sunday and Wednesday. I'm used to. I've heard of other choir practice on off days.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sounds about right.
And by the end, I was actually going like 4 days a week because it was Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday choir practice, and then I started a youth Bible study that we do on Thursday nights.
I'll say the closest I ever came to going to church on a regular basis was showing up for scout meetings on Monday nights.
Yeah, basically.
Which are always in churches because BSA has this weird affiliation with Christendom that, I could go on that for a long time, but that's not this episode.
No, it's not. We should go into your Boy Scout years one day.
We will. We will.
So, back to some of the Pentecostal side of things. Another story that I have. So once I got past the hand raising and the chit chat, and I went a few more times, and this was at the same one. I went to a few different ones because of her. And I have the most radical one I can tell you about. It was in the hills, and it was really bad.
Oh boy, okay, I want to hear that one.
It was. It was like like everyone was related, and like anyway, I'll tell that one later. Yeah, that one was really bad. But,
hey, you leave my family in West Virginia out of this. Sorry, guys, I had to.
Your family in West Virginia doesn't leave anyone out.
Damn.
No, the one thing. This is what made me never want to go back, because I was just like, this is total brainwash. Like, you guys are insane. I don't understand how you can even I'm sitting there just like about to laugh because I'm in total. I just don't even understand how they can believe in this shit. Well, this guy, he's handicapped, okay? And he's in a wheelchair. And then there's this other lady, she had cancer, I think is what she had. She had an illness, a chronic illness or some sort.
Yeah.
And the handicapped dude goes up, and it was the altar call. And it's at that one, it was just like altar call was if you have something you need to be healed from or whatever.
You go the laying on hands.
And then he starts speaking in tongues, and then he brings out this blue water, which that's probably all it fucking was, even though it was called, what's it called? Anointment water or
spring, holy spring water.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Someone bless a bottle of Deer Park or something?
He rubs it on your forehead, he just and then he starts speaking in tongues, and then they put their hands up, and they start crying, and then they start shaking, and it's going through them, and then the lady. The handicapped guy falls on the ground and lays on the ground, and he's just sitting there shaking, and I'm just like, okay, this isn't nothing's what are you doing? And then the lady with cancer, she was just he goes, now you will be healed and the cancer will be gone, and I'm just like, no, that's not how it works. She's going through treatments. The treatments, I just don't get it. It was insane. And then she was just like, I can feel the cancer leaving my body. I was like, where's it going? I don't see it. I don't what do you it was just that side of it was the worst part to me.
Yeah.
I did not believe it. It was hard for me to even watch it.
Thank you for bringing it up, because I almost forgot about the faith healing shit. Yeah, we actually did faith healings too.
It was insane.
We did. We
was absolutely.
We didn't use water though. We use olive oil, the fucking Bible tells you to. I hate this.
And who knows? He might have had olive oil. I remember it looking kind of blue though. But anyway, yeah,
it was probably water because a lot of them do that shit. But no, we actually had olive oil that we would fucking kill shit over. I actually think downstairs in one of my Bibles that I still have a prayer cloth that's inside of it, which is basically a piece of cloth you dab with olive oil and then pray over it, and it's supposed to keep you healthy. I don't fucking but yeah, we would do fucking faith healings too, and nobody got healed from that. I hate to be that guy. Nobody got healed from that.
Now, is there a correlation between having a positive outlook on conquering your disease and it helping? Yes. Is there a correlation between having a negative outlook on your disease and that hindering your healing process? Yes. Is faith healing a thing other than the fact that it might make you feel more confident about getting over your situation? No.
No, it doesn't.
Other than that, no.
It doesn't do shit.
That's why we have pills and injections and vaccines.
Yeah.
I'm going to underline that.
Well, and I was sitting next to my girl when the lady was up there with her illness, and I'm pretty sure it was cancer, because I remember looking at her and I said, she's going through chemo, right? She was just like, shh. shh. Because she would always get so mad at me because I would just like whisper, like I would like totally like throw a fact at her that would like break everything that was going on, and she hated it. She gets so mad at me. I'm like, okay.
Well, the reason why she probably hated that is because religion does not really do good with questions. At least, especially Pentecostals, we cannot ask questions. We just have to trust things in faith. Well, I had a problem with that, and I started asking questions, and I wasn't getting answers. Like I'd ask questions like, "Hey, why don't Muslims and Jews just all get together and make one giant church? Why don't you just pray to God about that? Maybe he'll answer you." Which was basically the nice way of saying, "Shut the fuck up, I don't know."
Or rather, shut the fuck up, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, or shut the fuck up, we don't talk about that.
The answer to everything for them is talk to God and he will give you a sign. Okay.
Yeah. I talked to God many a fucking times, never once got a goddamn answer.
His voicemail was full, dude. I mean,
I don't give a fuck his voicemail was full. I'm supposed to have a personal fucking connection with that guy. He's omnipotent. Fuck it. Answer my questions, because I'm fucking crying at 13 years old because I'm afraid I'm the fucking Antichrist and I'm going to hell. Like, legitimately.
Yeah, he's like me. He just goes invisible on Discord.
Yeah, basically.
He's just like, nah, I'm not here.
Oh my God, Billy.
What?
Are you him with a capital H?
Oh God, that's not what I meant. How do you want to go there?
No, Billy's not God. Period.
No, definitely not.
But,
Call me Lucifer.
but yeah, like that also was a big thing that happened in my life, is when I realized that praying was just basically talking to myself.
It is.
And I was like, that was a thought I had in my head. That wasn't a divine thought. That was something I was thinking in my head, was hoping that would be the answer. And I was like, no, I just need to be honest with myself. I just need to get away from church and see if I still feel God's blessing over, which I didn't.
Big shocker.
It scared the shit out of me. Like, you gotta understand, I grew up thinking that, like, not believing in God is going to send me to a lake of fire that I was never going to have any reprieve from. Like, I thought I was going, I knew I was going to hell because there's no fucking way I could possibly get into heaven.
And that's like way worse than not believing in Santa Claus and not getting Christmas presents.
Exactly. Fucking exactly. Like,
same concept, just turned up to 5,000.
It's no. Billy said it perfectly. Like, I know he's laughing right now, but that's legitimately a good description. Like, there's a difference between not believing in Santa and not getting toys, and believing that you're going to fucking hell and you're always going to be eternally tortured. And it fucked with me. It was so horrible. I growing up as a fucking teenager who had access to the internet, and as a male teenager with access to the internet, we are looking up one thing: porn. All the porn we could fucking porn all day, every day porn.
And for you younger listeners, this was back in the day when it was difficult to find, and most of it wasn't free.
Yeah, it was a dial-up, like, slowly descending
pixelated.
Yeah.
But people were downloading it because you couldn't. There was no streaming.
Right.
Those were raw internet days.
You had to save it.
Dial-up still around, and you were just finally getting to the broadband, and
yeah. So I felt like I was going to hell every fucking week, because I was like, I jerked off every damn day because it felt good and it calmed me down.
Yep.
A teenage boy. I mean, let's be realistic here. Every teenage boy does it.
Yeah. But it just constantly every week feeling like I was not good enough. It fucked with me. And it still kind of fucks with me, because not that I think that, that God's real and that I'm going to hell. That hasn't really crossed my mind in years. The thing that fucks with me is, like, I had such little self-confidence growing up my entire life because I felt like I was never good. And it still fucks with me to this day. And it makes me, growing up in that situation, growing up as a Pentecostal kind of, it reinforces that fact. There's a great movie out there, if you haven't seen it yet, called Jesus Camp. It's a
horror movie, right?
No, it's a documentary. feels like a horror movie. Once
Could
you
be a horror movie.
Could be a horror movie. But there's this great documentary called Jesus Camp, which is all about kids going to Bible camp, this evangelical Bible camp, getting filled with the Holy Spirit and spending 7 days out in the cabin, just learning about Jesus. And people watch that film and are like, "Oh, I can't believe this. There's no way this actually happens. This has got to be staged." No, I can tell you for a fact, if you watch that film and you see every horrible thing that those kids happens to those kids, that those adults say, that is 100% true. That's how people grew up. Another great movie to watch, Red State.
Yes. Oh my God, do I love that movie?
That movie's great. It's one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies. But people will say like, the most unbelievable thing about this is like the church sermons and stuff like that. No, that is 100% real. That is 100% real. I can't tell you how many times I heard coming from the pulpit that gay people were the reason why the apocalypse was coming, and that God doesn't love us anymore.
Which that whole side of religion has always really confused me, because, correct me if I'm wrong, the overlying, I know that's not a real word, whatever. The overlying message is supposed to be
I love this.
Love, right?
Yeah.
Preaching love for your fellow man and for everything, right? Except for X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z being homosexuals and blah, 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 and blah, blah, whoever else they say. Everyone gets love except for these people. Like, wait.
Dude, and that...
Huh?
Keep going.
No, I was gonna say it's a conflict of interests. Like, it's a disconnect. I don't understand how that can be a thing. If the whole book preaches love for all of mankind, and then there's supposed to be this whole other group that says, well, except for these people who like to get it on with people of the same sex, they don't deserve our love. Huh?
I mean,
and then there's no valid explanation coming from them other than, well, it's in the book. Like, are you sure you're reading that right?
Well, the funny thing is they are kind of reading that right.
Okay.
Well, and the thing that always has driven me nuts is the most religious are the most trash-talking, hypocritical, gossiping. It's like the holier than thou people are most of the time the worst, because they're the most condescending, just gross people. And it's just like, that's the opposite of what you're supposed to be.
Yeah, I can tell you.
God.
I can tell you for a fact, and I'm pretty sure if you listen to this out there and you've been in one of these evangelical churches, this is true for you. The old church lady that's in every church is the reason why a lot of people don't fucking go, because they're tired of her shit. They're tired of her telling them how to live when she's got so much fucked up shit going on in her life. She don't need to be talking to me.
Yeah. Like, I remember when we went to like a rock concert, right? Me and her. I'm trying not to say her name, but
protect the innocent.
Yeah, protect, because she doesn't deserve any flack.
Yeah,
but yeah. So I just remember we went to a rock. It was like, oh God, we were in high school. What was it? It was a horrible band. Horrible. Who did that Lips of an Angel song? Hinder.
Yes.
It was a Hinder concert that she wanted to go to, obviously.
Well, there's $25 you'll never get back.
Oh my God, I don't even know if it was that much. Anyway, we went to a freaking Hinder concert with like Buck Cherry opening up or something.
Oh God.
Shit. It was horrible, dude.
I could just see all the Affliction shirts.
Right.
And I remember her telling her really good friend, who was kind of like a second mom to her, and this old lady overheard. And then later on, I heard her in the back going, all these young kids going to these rock concerts and losing their faith in Jesus and giving their soul to the devil. And I'm just like, you are a horrible person. Oh my God, are you sure that you don't need to be here more than we do? Anyway, that's just like the epitome of like the shit that it just kills me. It's insane.
No, like I would hear that shit too. Like I would get so much crap for the music I would listen to. It's the reason why I didn't really listen to metal until after I got after high school, when I left and never came back. Well, it was not just you. It was like I also listened to that shit. I just listened to it by myself, like very discreetly. Because like I loved Slipknot back in the day, but the problem is that I just didn't get much of a chance to get into them.
Yeah, I tried listening to that as a kid. Oh man.
Yeah, no,
my mom was mad.
Yeah. No, like my mom would not buy. She would buy me classic rock CDs, but she wouldn't buy me she would buy me Alice Cooper, but she wouldn't give me Rob Zombie.
That's ironic.
Right?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Love you, Mom. But yeah, no, it's like okay, to answer your question of why do they say they have that God is love, but then there's expectations and limitations on it, you know?
Okay.
The reason why they think that is because there's a scripture in Leviticus. I don't know the fucking verse or chapter, but it basically says that to lie with another man is an abomination in God's eyes. They think because it says abomination, not just sin, they think it's horrible and that you shouldn't be able to do that. Well, first off, that scripture is entirely misinterpreted. That's not what it says in the original Hebrew. What it says in the original Hebrew is a man shall not lay in the same way he does with a woman as with a man, which basically means you can't fuck a man and treat him like property.
Right.
Period.
Because at the time the original text was written, women were basically property.
They kind of still are.
We're here for you, ladies.
But yeah, no, like they read shit like that. Now, like, forget about the other 17 verses that tell them not to eat shrimp, but they know about that one verse.
Right. Cherry picking.
Yeah, yeah, it's 100% cherry picking. Like all of them cherry pick their favorite verses. All of them have not read that entire book. I guarantee you. If they say they have, and they're still a Christian,
Wow.
They're lying.
Oh shit! If you read the whole thing, you can't memorize that shit.
No, you can't memorize it.
That's just the parts that you wanted to remember.
Exactly.
It's because the Bible does have some really good verses in it that you can use for your life, but it also has a lot of shit in there that you're just like, what the fuck? Like, for instance, did you know how do you defeat God? Let's say you're in the Iron Age. How do you defeat God?
Well, first you take out your flute and you play the melody that brings forth the Dragon Zord. And no, damn it.
No.
Okay.
It's really simple.
You poke him with a stick.
No.
Okay. All right. I'm at a loss.
You just need to have a chariot of iron.
A chariot of iron.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I just have it and boom. I have a chariot of iron on my front lawn now. I've defeated God.
So the Old Testament is basically like the warring tribe of Judea. The warring tribe of Judea got stopped by people who had iron chariots, and they asked God to help, and God couldn't help them. You can look this up, folks. If you're out there, look up Iron Chariot and God. I guarantee you'll find it. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's there. God can be defeated by iron chariots. God can be defeated by your car.
That's, I mean, I know I've seen some people get fucked up from car accidents, but that's taking it to an extreme right there.
So, you know, and again, growing up Pentecostal, kind of getting back to the meat of this, growing up Pentecostal, there was a lot of stuff you weren't allowed to think about. Whenever you would come up with a question, 90% of the time you wouldn't get answers. And it bothered me because I was like, that's not how we should be doing this. And that's the reason why I thought I wanted to be a preacher, because I wanted to answer those questions. So that's the reason why I started on this, like, okay, how do I deal with this question? And to be honest with you, Chris, because we knew each other freshman year of college,
yes,
and I was still very much so a Christian. I would not go out to parties.
At least that first semester.
Yeah, at least that first semester. I would not go out to parties. I wouldn't like go out to do any. I wouldn't smoke with y'all guys. I wouldn't do anything with you. I would just go to my room and go to fucking sleep for like the first semester.
And then sophomore year, he met the Billy.
Well, sophomore year, I met you. We actually started hanging out a lot more. But like that second semester of freshman year is when I started hanging out with Chris a lot more, and we partied and shit like that. But like even when I was that Christian, I feel like I never was the overbearing, beat you over the head one, because I knew the problems in the religion. It's like people would say, well, you believe in God, but do you believe in fairies? I'm like, yeah, why not? If I believe in an imaginary sky man, why wouldn't I believe?
Sky woman.
Or Sky Woman, you know. Why would I even debate fairies? Why would I debate Bigfoot? Yeah, sure, why not? They probably exist. Aliens, hell yeah, they exist. There's no way it wouldn't exist. Well, how old do you think the Earth is? About 7 billion years old. Well, your Bible says it's made in 7 days. that Bible at best should not be taken literal.
I think that's a point a lot of people forget, that it is not a fact for fact account of things that happen. For all intents and purposes, it's a morality tale.
Yeah.
It's structured as a, here's kind of sort of what happened. Here's the lesson you're supposed to glean from it and things you are supposed to and not supposed to do.
Especially the Old Testament. The Old Testament was basically books by Moses. Moses had to keep like all the Jews in Egypt straight for 40 days and 40 nights. No. I'll tell you fucking stories. Just stop trying to fuck each other. Just for 1 minute and don't try to kill me. We'll get you out of this desert. I promise. Just listen to the story about how God.
You guys got to pack up and keep going. We're running from the Egyptians
right.
Again.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, I don't know, man. I coming from somebody who was on the other side of it, I always felt like I was a good Christian. Like, I actually tried to be Christ-like, which was, I understand the reason why you don't believe, but let me tell you why I believe and why I think he fills me with love.
Yeah, no, I never got that sense from you that you were like, here's my Bible. Now I'm going to face fuck you with it.
Right.
I did know people like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know them for very long for obvious reasons, but I did know people like that. And you were definitely not that person. You were definitely more along the lines of, well, okay, explain to me why you think this. Oh, that's interesting. With my faith, here's how I think about this same topic.
Yeah. I never thought that my faith should override my ability to talk to people and get along with people. That's the biggest problem with evangelicals now. They can't talk to other people about belief because they feel like they have to attack and defend it. Well, I'm sorry, folks. The more you attack, the more you defend, the more people will just walk away because they're tired of having the fight. If you want to show God's love, you got to show love. And nobody in the Christian faith nowadays, at least the ones that are in power are making the biggest fucking noises.
Old white men.
Don't show that. They don't.
No.
And that was the reason why I thought I was going to be a fucking preacher. Because I was like, I'm going to revolutionize fucking Christianity. Obviously, that didn't happen. But no, I thought I was going to. Made a lot of people mad because I would have kids come up and ask me like, I had sex. Am I a horrible person? No, fine. Just repent.
No, you're a fucking human being.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah. No sin's too great for Jesus not to repent you from, except for one, which is saying that you've been being filled with the love of God and then deny it. Well, I've been filled with the Holy Spirit. I've felt God's love. I have given God's love. I believed that Jesus Christ was the savior of all mankind. It's all bullshit. Whew. Now I don't have to go to heaven. Thank God. Or well, actually, thank Satan.
Jack would be so proud of you.
He would be. But yeah, no, I don't have to go to heaven anymore. Cool. I get like that. At least that's off my mind. And I know a lot of people that are former Christians that have to fight that. They have to like. They don't know what to do. Like they're afraid that they're wrong. And I'm telling you, like, don't be afraid that you're wrong. Live your life the way you would live if Jesus was filling you with love. Give everyone love, treat everyone with respect. Be a helping hand when you can. Just don't do it because you're afraid you're going to fucking hell. Do it because it's the right thing to fucking do. And that's the reason why I say I became a better person getting out of Christianity, getting out of the faith, because I grew out of I'm doing this because I'm afraid. I grew into I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. And I think that's like the greatest thing about getting out of it, because at the very end, my church was about to split up. Preacher was leaving. We had no plans what was going to happen. There was one family that wanted to start its own church. The other family that wanted to keep the church. Everyone was fighting. It was constant fucking chaos. And I said, this doesn't have God's love in it at all. There's no love in this. So I left, found another church. Same thing happened. I was like, what the fuck? What is going on? And that's when I realized, no, humans that have some modicum of fucking power want to keep it and want to weaponize it.
Absolute power corrupts, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yep.
All these, if you're asking yourself, why do churches closed down, it's because of shit like this. It's because of the constant splits and the fights and the anger that's in every that happens in these churches, and they never get past it. There's always some type of societal fucking, hierarchy in those churches. If you're part of this family, you get all these benefits, but if you're not part of this family, you're treated like dirt. And I'm being 100% serious. I'm not exaggerating to make a point. That is 100% what would happen. You're part of this family. Well, every church trip is now basically a family vacation for you, because you have a lot of people that are in this, and you give the most money. While people that are on the outside that maybe not go to church every week, no, they can't come.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories like that about how exclusionary it can be.
Yeah.
I've also heard the good stories about it. One of my favorite people in the world, uncle of mine, was a youth pastor for quite some time, and actually went to seminary school and did church building. Basically, it's like franchising, but for churches. And he will sit there and tell you his point of view, and then he will listen to yours, and then he will ask questions. Why do you think that? Okay. Well, here's how I would interpret that. He's someone that you can have those conversations with, and that's the way he always instilled it in the churches that he set up, which I approve of.
Right.
I don't necessarily approve of the belief system that he chose to follow, but I approve of the way he does his message.
Because that's being Christ-like. See, the whole...
Exactly.
Breaking down what Christian really is, if you break down the title of Christian, it is Christ-like. That's the whole point of it.
Yes.
Problem is, we ain't got we don't have many Christ-like people left. They just don't exist, or if they do exist, they're doing it for money. These mega churches and shit like that, it pisses me off, because that is the exact opposite of the fucking message that Jesus put out there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't want these mega church pastors owning 4 mansions, 3 yachts, 2 limos, and a security guard service.
Who do you think?
And a basketball stadium. Let's add that in there.
And a basketball stadium.
And who do you think he was fighting against when in the last days? Was he fighting against the Romans? No. He was fighting against the Pharisees, the assholes who were making money off the church.
Yep.
Modern day Christians, especially the ones that are in mega churches, I hate to break it to you, you're not a Christian. You're a Pharisee. Flat out. You need to come to terms with that. If you can't come to terms with that, then maybe you need to reread the book you claim to have been divinely inspired by, because you're not living up to it. Sorry, you just wanted to get that rant out real quick.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I had mentioned something earlier, and I wanted to retouch on it real quick. But when I talked about, you went to church because mom and dad went to church because their mom.
Yeah.
I see that a lot, and I saw that a lot with people I grew up with. They only went because mom and dad went, and their mom and dad went, and their mom and dad went, so they go. But they don't have any sense of the belief system in themselves. They go just because it's something they're supposed to do. And then when they get out in the world, they realize, well, wait a second. I'm not being required to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe I should rethink this. And I saw that in a lot of people I grew up with who were, for lack of a better term, religious about going to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
And then they become an adult and they're like, oh, wait a second. This doesn't jive with how I'm learning the world works anymore.
Well, and you're right. I mean, I've known many kids that just went to church because their mom and dad went to church. And that's kind of usually what happens. They get out, start living on their own life, and they're just kind of like, nah, I don't really want to go to church. Fuck it. Why do I need to go to church? I don't have really any connection to it. I just went because I was forced to go to. So that's the reason why I feel like I had the most pure Christian experience, because I had the option not to go to church. I chose to.
Right.
And choosing to meant that I was making an effort into it on the onset. That's the reason why when I came out of it and people were like, well, why don't you ever want to go back to church? Because I did this the most pure way to do it, which is I decided independently that I want to worship Jesus. And I decided independently that I don't want to worship Jesus. No, I don't want to go back to church. I have no desire to. Why? Because I've been to more sermons than half of you have. And I've studied more of the Bible than almost all of you have. And I just don't want to go to church because I hate when people lie to my face. And a lot of these preachers, especially ones that are like in these, 30,000, 50,000 churches, they are lying straight up to your face. And it kills me.
Okay, so let me ask this question of both of you.
Okay.
As we start getting into closing here, I want both of your opinions on this. Billy, we'll start with you because you said your dad was Presbyterian, your mom's Catholic, correct?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so with you now being an adult, how do they feel about you being lapsed?
My dad was never very religious. It's really not hard. We just don't talk about it. My mom and we can discuss things. I just can't, out of respect for my mom, obviously, she's still my mom.
Mhm.
I just will not. She knows how I feel, and so when I talk to her, I try to make sure that I don't. I'm not like, Mom, you're stupid for believing in it. This is dumb. Like I don't do that. That's disrespectful, and that's not what I do. I'll talk about it with her. Like, for example, something really cool is I got my mom into Lucifer, and my mom is like insane, like rosary, Catholic. Like she, does the Hail Marys and the whatever the three things are that you have to repeat 800 times, and then and so like a lot of family, her family specifically, you probably can't really joke about hell too much, like it's not really a subject. Well, my mom and I can watch Lucifer, and my mom likes it. She likes, because you can still think about it, like she doesn't believe she's gonna go to hell because she's watching a show about hell, like
Yeah.
it's not like that. Like she's a reasonable person. So like me and my mom can talk about it, and even while we're watching Lucifer, we were talking about the Bible. Like it's fine, like it's cool. I'll talk about it, and she just knows I won't go to church though, and I'm not gonna do anything other than that. Like, and so me and my mom have a good relationship when it comes to that. But yeah, she just my mom will always tell me though. She's like, she'll throw little quips out. She's like, I know there's something up there though, like or I know she'll just slide it. I'm like, okay, Mom.
Trying to bait the hook a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she believes, and so she just wants to think that I believe in something, and that's fine. She can. I mean, I'm not going to go into my theory of the whole thing. I would be like 800 hours of recording, but
I don't have that much room left.
Me and my mom, have a good relationship. We can talk about it, and it is what it is. It's just like, talking about a book, any other book, and you just discuss it. So yeah, no, I mean, a pretty good relationship in that sense for me.
Okay. Yeah. And I know, John, you said your mom isn't exactly religious, and you went with an aunt. She is now. Okay. So how does your extended family then and your mother now feel about you being lapsed?
I get a lot of questions about when I'm coming back to church, and I tell them no. My mom gets it. She doesn't push it too fucking hard. She occasionally goes, you need to prepare yourself in case, things go up. I was like, Mom, no, I'm good. Thank you. My aunt is pretty much just let it go. She knows I'm not going to come back. It's mostly been pretty chill. Occasionally I'll have that family member that like gets real religious around Christmas who wants to save my soul. And I tell them straight up, I don't care what you're about to say. I don't care what you're about to try to start preaching it. I've heard it all before. I'll hear it again. It ain't convincing me. So just stop. I don't care. We do like the whole family prayer thing for get-togethers. I bow my head, or if I'm feeling very mischievous.
Yeah.
And that's a respect thing.
My family will pray, and I just like, okay, rather than make a big fuss about it, fuck it. Just
right.
Put your head down and wait a minute.
But occasionally if I'm feeling mischievous, for some reason, whenever we do like the family prayers, for some reason, me and Jesse on the opposite sides looking at each other. I don't know why. I think we get caught up in other conversations, and I'll look up and make eye contact, and I'll like flash the horns or be like, I'll be like shooting the middle finger just because like nobody else is looking, and if anybody else is looking, they're in the same boat,
right?
But yeah, no, we were like it's not really like a detriment in our relationship. Like some people have, and there are people that do have that.
Yes.
That once they leave their faith, their parents don't talk to them, or every time they talk to them, they gotta bring up some fucking Christianity thing. They gotta bring up some salvation thing. My family doesn't do that. Thank God.
Well, that's good for both of you. I'm glad to hear that. I do have one caveat. As long as your stepdad, your dad now, as long as he is not trying to convert you to his religion, because then we'll have a problem. Because you know what that man believes in, Billy?
Oh God, do I want to know? I don't even know.
It's the worst out of all of them. That man believes in the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's just unacceptable.
I knew that.
He believes every year that the Cowboys are going to win. Yeah, he believes every year the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And, that takes a lot of faith, and I appreciate that about
Yeah, but
him.
that's one religion that we definitely cannot stand behind is the Dallas Cowboys. So I just really wanted to end this on a high note.
Well,
end it on a joke, end it on a high note.
Well, you know what's funny? We'll end it on this story.
Okay.
Because you brought the Cowboys.
Damn, I didn't get to tell my snake handling story. Okay, snake handling's real. There's a story.
Oh, yeah, it's 100% real.
It's still there, even though it's illegal.
I mean, what time is it right now?
Depends on how long your story is.
Yeah, well,
I can tell it pretty quickly.
Yeah, tell it pretty quickly.
So, the church, we had like a sister church or something, and they wanted to get together with our church. So we all met up at this other church in John. So, I'll just say where, that was in Livingston. It's bumfuck Tennessee.
Yep.
And, well, there's even more bumfuck than that.
Yep.
And it's called Jamestown.
Yep.
And,
exactly where you're at right now.
Jamestown is, everyone's related to, it's bad.
Yeah.
I don't really want to insult the whole populace there, but it's one of those kind of cities.
One of those 40,000 people, 20 last name cities.
Pretty much.
Oh, you're talking like 2,000 people max population. And so we go there, and I thought the other church was bad. Well, this one was on a whole nother level. The whole time we were in there, like nobody sat down. It was like being in like British Parliament. Like it was just constant banter. The whole it never got quiet. It was just constant. A preacher was preaching and it was loud. And then, so snake handling is technically illegal.
Yeah, it should be.
So two factors. One, homegrown town. So the mayor and everyone's there. So all of the laws there.
Yeah.
So if all the laws there and behind it, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then two, what he did is he put on this like a potato sack material stuff, like a knapsack around him, and then put the snake on that, and he had like a turtleneck of it too up to his neck, and he let it sit around, and he wouldn't put it on people, but they would come up, and if the snake doesn't bite you, then you're pure or whatever. That's like the whole gist behind it. Or you believe in God, and God will make sure the snake doesn't bite you. That's the whole thing.
Right.
And if the snake bites you, then you're whatever.
Then you're going to hell because you're about to die.
Yeah. So, and he literally, he bought out a case of 6 snakes, and they were not little.
Big Rubbermaid totes. Like big Rubbermaid totes that have
the big blue with the lid with the holes in the top. Yeah.
I'm familiar.
Yeah. So, and he sure as shit, he had like 2 on each arm, and he was just like walk in front of them and hold the head like kind of, not really that close. I don't know. They probably could still bite him, but, and I don't know what kind of snakes they were either. Who knows? But, and yeah, they would literally just get on their knees and just hold their hands up, and then he would just speak in tongues and all this other. And by the way, tongues is bullshit. It's made up. It ain't real. It's just a bunch of gibberish.
Yes.
And then yeah, he would literally walk around with the damn snakes, and then he throws one in the air like a fucking frisbee. He throws it, and he's like, the snake will land, and the snake will land in the bucket where it came from, and it will be sent back. And sure as shit, of course he threw it perfect. It landed in the thing, and then everyone was like, Jesus is real. And it's like, God damn it, it's the snake came down.
Jesus is real because this guy had a really good underhand throw. That's what you're saying.
Exactly, dude. It was the craziest shit. Like I almost walked out. It was insane. It was the craziest fucking thing. And that was one of the last times I went with her to any of it. And I was just
understandable.
This is way too far. Like this is way too far. And that's that story. It was insane. It was crazy.
Again, understandable. I'm not going to give you shit for that one. That one, I'm like, yep. No, I would leave too.
Like I'm already going for her.
Right.
I'm not really going for me. I'm going to make her happy. And then it's just like, how can anyone just watch? Like, do you not have a brain? Like, are you not? You're so brainwashed.
Is there
into
no
shit.
survival instinct?
Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah, it was nuts, dude. Yeah, crazy shit.
All right,
Crazy shit.
We could go for another 2 hours.
Yeah,
of this.
we easily could, but we have to get to doing other things. Since we're recording this on Easter, no matter what you are, hope you're enjoying your holiday wherever you may be. I have been Chris the Metal Barrett.
I am the Extreme Master.
And I'm John the Joker.
And he actually got it right for the first time in 3 weeks. Yay! Everybody give John a clap in your car as you're listening, and we will see you next time on the Anarchy Arena podcast.
I did it. Thank you once again for listening to this episode. It's been one that I've had on the back of my mind for a while, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And I also want you to understand that if you happen to be a Christian of any faith, I just want you to understand that I don't really have a problem with you, or no one on this show really has a problem with you. This is just my personal experience and my personal upbringing. So I hope that you guys understand there's no animosity between anyone that believes in a certain God or anything like that. It's just, this is how I grew up. But thank you again for listening to this, and make sure to follow us on whatever your favorite podcast service you have. And of course, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Anarchy Arena Pod. It's been fun, and I'll see you guys next week.